I gained 20 pounds in 1 month and I thought my body was broken. Here's what actually happened and what I did to fix it. So, if you remember, in 2019, I was diagnosed with PCOS and endometriosis. I spent a couple of years really focusing on managing my symptoms, changing my fitness, my nutrition, my lifestyle in order to feel better with my PCOS and endometriosis, as well as manage it, not have the symptoms really impacting my daily life. So, in 2021, I felt like I was in the clear. I felt amazing. I left my job in at the gym in March of 2021, and in October of 2021, I realized that I was gaining weight. When I stepped on the scale, I'm not typically a scale person, but occasionally I'll weigh myself just to see what's going on. And when I stepped on the scale, I realized I was 20 pounds heavier that month. It honestly shook me. I didn't know what to do. Initially, I thought because of my lifestyle change with going from being very active on my feet all day, training people, walking around the gym, etc., to working from home, that maybe that's why I was gaining weight. But I was also kind of like, maybe it's like I'm less stressed and like that stress from working at the gym is like finally catching up to me. I didn't know what to do. So I scheduled a doctor's appointment. I told them I've gained 20 pounds in a month and I want to get some blood work. I want to understand what is going on. And so I got to the doctor. We were talking about it, and she pulled a couple labs, mostly to do with my PCOS. And I asked her for a full thyroid panel, and she was like, "No, I don't think your thyroid's an issue." And so again, I was frustrated, and she was like, "It's probably just your PCOS," and was like, we could really talk about your nutrition and your fitness and like what you're doing around that. Me, like working in this space, obviously, I was like, I don't think it's that. Nothing has changed with that. I eat pretty well and I work out almost daily. And she knew also what I did for a living. And so I'm not sure why she like brought that up, but I was frustrated and she was like, well, just try to lose weight. And if you are a PCOS girly, you know that that is one of the most frustrating things that somebody could tell you is just lose weight because it is very hard to lose weight. So I left the doctor's office feeling just like I had less answers, again, feeling just really disappointed with the like doctors and how they treat women, especially when we're coming to them with an issue of something that's not normal. Normally, when people gain weight, they get very reactive and they're wanting to lose weight rather quickly. And I was just thinking about it and I was like, okay, so what has actually changed between leaving my job in March of 2021 to gaining all of this weight in October? That's not like many months in between. What has actually changed? Yes, I did, change scenery. I did start working from home as opposed to being in the gym, but nothing else had really changed. I felt like my hormonal symptoms were still kind of feeling fine. Like the way I coach my own clients is that if you do have hormonal symptoms, like pretty aggressive active ones, those probably need to be looked at before you can lose weight or put on muscle or anything like that. And so I was like, I don't think anything's changed. Like I'm not having crazy periods. I'm not getting super bloated. I'm sleeping at night. So what in the world? And so instead of getting reactive, what I did was I decided to start tracking my calories again, which I am not somebody who does track my calories and macros year round. I just do it when I need to, and or if I want to like see what a day looks like or something like that. And so I started tracking my calories and I actively was like, I'm just going to stay at my maintenance calorie for a while. I stayed at my maintenance calorie for probably a couple months. And then I was like, you know what? This feels really good. I'm actually like, I'm feeling more energy. I'm feeling a little bit better. And when I coach my own clients, I make them stay at maintenance for a little bit before going into a deficit. But I knew that going right into the deficit for me was maybe not what needed to happen. Instead of going into that deficit, I actually decided to go into a calorie surplus for almost a year. And I was eating slightly over my maintenance. I was lifting heavy. I was still getting like plenty of steps, especially with my dog who just laid down back there. I was still getting plenty of steps. I was less stressed. And throughout my surplus, I just started feeling way better. So yeah, my symptoms felt really managed before I went into the surplus. But all of a sudden, I was like sleeping like a rock. I was just out. I did not have any period symptoms. My periods were actually lighter, not as heavy, not as clotty. I was feeling just amazing. Was waking up with energy like crazy. And so even though I didn't have these like really active symptoms where you'd be like, okay, like something's got to be addressed here. I just felt way better. And I noticed my energy improving, my everything just was improving, my skin was improving. And of course, this did cause me to gain a little bit more weight being in a surplus, but I wasn't really focused on my body composition at that time. I was more focused on how I was feeling and making sure that I was preparing my body to go into a deficit. After being in a surplus for quite a while, I decided it was time to go into a deficit. And I am not somebody who actively is in a deficit often. I've probably done like a handful of like three my whole life, mostly because I'm just more focused on like how I'm feeling and my performance and lifting heavy, etc., and not so much about losing weight. And so I went into a deficit. With my clients, I keep them in a deficit between 3 to 4 months, just because I've noticed that is the sweet spot for them to lose weight without having much metabolic adaptation, without their hormones kind of acting up, getting hormonal symptoms, etc. And so I followed my own protocol of how I coach my clients with making sure that their hormones are happy, making sure their body is primed for a deficit, and then even going into that deficit protocol. And I went into a deficit. I went into it for 3 months. And in those 3 months, I lost 10 pounds. So I still was not back to my original weight. And that was fine. The deficit was pretty easy. I was still eating. My maintenance calorie is like 2,500 calories, and I was eating like 2,200 calories, 2,000 calories, and I just felt really good. None of my hormonal symptoms came up. I was losing weight. I was still able to lift and work out how I wanted to. But and then I reverse dieted out of it and I still kept that weight off. It felt amazing. I was really burnt out by this time of tracking calories. So I had been tracking for my maintenance calorie, for my surplus calorie, and then for my deficit. And I was just like, I really don't want to freaking track anymore. It starts just getting to be like really like, oh, like I have to track this. I have to track this. And so I was like, okay, I'm done tracking. I made sure to reverse diet myself out of the deficit where I had lost 10 pounds. And I wanted to sit at maintenance for a while. So I tracked for a couple more weeks and then I transitioned more into a habit-based maintenance. And so what I really focused on was how I'm eating, how I'm sleeping, how I'm moving, like how often I'm eating, what my meals look like. And I did not track. And over the next year, I lost another 10 plus pounds, which was, technically, if you are like losing weight, you are in a deficit. I was not actively trying to lose weight. I was just listening to what my body wanted and needed to feel nourished and nurtured. And it just so happened a lot of that weight came off. I also think a lot of that weight came off because I was finally in a good routine with working for myself. I think that transition going from in person at the gym to working from myself was a very difficult transition, and not difficult in like all of a sudden I'm working from home and could do whatever I wanted. Like I was still working, but I think it was just I had better boundaries with myself. I wasn't working around the clock. I realized when I was working at the gym how much I was working there was causing a lot of burnout and fatigue. And like I've mentioned, I do believe that a lot of the stress from that, as well as my own stresses that I put on myself, were the reasons why I have PCOS. But I was finally like in a better groove with work and with working for myself and able to manage my stress. And so over this whole process took probably almost like 2 years. And within that 2 years, I lost the 20 plus pounds. And Why I like to mention that is because I think a lot of people believe that they're going to lose 20 pounds in that 3 months in a deficit. And that realistically isn't going to happen if you want to keep your hormone health up, as well as keep that weight off. When we are losing a drastic amount of weight really, really fast, it is very hard to keep up that lifestyle to keep that weight off. And the way I approach weight loss for myself and for my clients is if you are trying to lose weight, you should be eating very similarly to how you were at maintenance or how you were in a surplus. Like, no food should be really like taken out unless you are going through some type of like gut health protocol, anti-inflammatory protocol, or something like that. But your diet should look pretty much the same. And it's really just about like the calories, how you're moving, how you're sleeping, how you're recovering, your stress management. That is what matters with weight loss, not cutting out carbs or cutting out sweets or whatever. There's still room for the bevs, the snacks, the date nights, etc. when you are losing weight. So, one, it is not normal to gain 20 pounds in a month or a massive amount of weight in a short period of time. And if you do, that typically is a hormonal response to something that needs to be addressed before you can lose weight. If you are struggling to lose weight, I understand it is very, very frustrating. It is hard, but in my coaching, I believe that weight loss should be the easiest part. The harder part is staying at maintenance and just really doing the boring work and priming yourself to lose that weight. So even though I did not get it checked out with the doctor that I like something's wrong with my thyroid or this or that, I was able to take a look at what's going on underneath the hood with my symptoms, making myself feel really, really good to prime myself to lose the weight. And I've kept it off to this day. And my symptoms have not come back. So my PCOS and endometriosis is still managed. And I still have no idea why I gained 20 pounds in a month. There's obviously plenty of theories that I have in my head, but I just want to say that if you are in a position of wanting to lose weight, you have a lot of control when you are taking care of yourself and listening to your body. I want to hear from you in the comments. Have you ever suddenly gained weight and just not really known how to go about it? Or have you tried to lose weight and you're kind of struggling and it's just not coming off easily? Drop a comment. I would love to chat with you. And that is all I have today on Hormone Happy Hour. Cheers.